I lost my job 8 months ago. My wife still doesn't know. Every morning, I kiss my wife goodbye, then I spend 8 hours pretending I still have a job. Hello, Anonymous, please. I'm 32 years old. I've been married for 3 years. We have 2 children until 8 months ago. I worked for the same logistics company for nearly 10 years. I wasn't rich, but I was dependable. I paid the bills. I knew exactly what time I'd leave for work every morning. I honestly believed I'd retire there. Then one Monday afternoon, the company announced a bankruptcy by Friday. My security pass no longer worked. I remember sitting in my car outside the building for almost an hour. I couldn't bring myself to drive home. All I could think was, how do I tell my family? When I finally got home, I walked through the front door smiling. My wife asked how work had been. I heard myself say, busy. That one word became the beginning of 8 months of lies. The next morning, I ironed my shirt, packed my lunch, kissed my wife goodbye, and drove away like every other day. Except, I didn't go to work. Some days I sat in the public library applying for jobs. Some days I passed time in the pub drinking. Some days I drove around just to make it look like I'd been somewhere. I told myself I'd confess once I found another job. I was sure it would only take a few weeks. Weeks became months. Our savings slowly started disappearing. Whenever my wife asked why our account looked lower, I blamed rising bills, car repairs, school expenses, anything except the truth. 3 months ago, she suggested booking a family summer holiday. I said work was too busy. The truth was, I couldn't even afford the deposit. That night, I barely slept. Yesterday, everything nearly fell apart. My wife called me during the afternoon. She said she was nearby and wanted to surprise me with lunch at work. For a second, I couldn't even breathe. I told her we were all in a meeting and couldn't leave. She apologized and hung up. I sat in my car for almost an hour after that. Not because I was relieved, because I realized how close I'd come to losing control of the lie. The truth is, my wife has never cared about how much money I earn. When we first got married, she supported us while I finished a training course. She never once complained. So why haven't I told her? I've asked myself that question hundreds of times. Maybe I've spent so many years believing my value comes from providing that I forgot marriage is supposed to be about partnership. Every evening, when she asks, "How was work today?" I answer without thinking. Sometimes I even invent stories about colleagues. The lies have become so ordinary that I no longer recognize the person telling them. I have another interview next week. Part of me wants to tell her everything before then. Another part keeps thinking, what if I finally get the job? Or what if I can fix all this before she ever finds out? But deep down, I know the real problem isn't unemployment anymore. It's that I've built 8 months of marriage on a conversation I was too afraid to have, and I honestly don't know whether the trust, or simply prove I should have trusted her from the very beginning. Should I tell her?